Hello. For those of you whom I haven't met yet, my name is Murphy McGee. I'm in my second year of studying interactive art and experiences, and I have a background in graphic design, film photography, and printmaking. I'm interested and deeply invested in exploring the connections between species on this planet, decentering the human in design, and creating accessible art. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in 1760s, it's apparent that our species has been enthralled and obsessed with the notion that progress is equivalent to growth, and vice versa. We currently live in the geological era of the Anthropocene, which is argued to have started in 1950 alongside the Great Acceleration. Shortly after the start of the Anthropocene, human-centered design methodologies were becoming mainstream and are now standard practice. For the last few hundred years, the majority of us have been focused on human growth through the lens of being superior to other species on this planet. We focus on how to enhance our quality of life while destroying other species altogether and their ecosystems. We've moved far away from the notion that indigenous cultures had that we were stewards of the land. It's unlikely that anyone here today hasn't become aware of the climate crisis we find ourselves in. It's nearly common knowledge that we're in the sixth mass extinction event. This time the humans are the culprit. It's time that we as humans realize that putting ourselves at the center of things has and will continue to throw the natural order off balance. It's unsustainable. We need to slow down. We need to move forward in a way that collaborates with the rest of the world in harmony. These notions have led me to dig into articles, books, documentaries, and projects that are decentering the human, opting to center the animal or non-human actor, and that explore concepts of post-human, post-dualism, and post-Anthropocene. These concepts are changing the narrative. Like the term nature culture, which was coined by Donna Haraway, this concept removes the divide between nature and human-created culture and considers that we exist and can collaborate together. Currently, I'm continuing to research by following similar concepts and letting myself navigate the rabbit hole that forms from one idea to the next. I'm building a web of thought that interconnects my own work and the work of others along with their theory. Alongside my research, I'm performing experiments in a way to contextualize what I've been learning. By the end of the year, I will have a collection of experiments and a research paper that details my findings. So far this year, I have been establishing my research and have completed one experiment. By the end of this term, I will complete 2 more experiments. It is my current goal that within the first 8 weeks of next term, I will submit a paper to XCOAX conference and will complete 3 more experiments. Past that, I will look to set up an exhibition and talk to showcase my work and discuss it further with interested persons. Transformed by the Sea is a series of portraits shot on 35mm film and altered with organic materials in a process called film souping. The series is part of a wider project of souped film portraits. Within the series, I capture portraits of people interacting with nature and then submerge the film in the same organic materials that were interacted with. My intention is to allow the non-human actor to alter the man-made film and transform the images and yield a visual representation of how we are transformed by nature around us. Through this series, I wanted to co-create with nature culture by allowing the non-human actors to have agency and authorship in the artworks alongside me. So I shot the images using my Pentax K1000 camera, Lomography 400 color film, and collected sand, seawater, and seaweed in a jar to submerge the film in. I souped the film for 24 hours in the jar and then rinsed it to stop the chemical process and allowed it to dry in rice for 3 weeks before developing the images. Though some of the images became unrecognizable by the contribution of the organic matter, most of the results are quite subtle, ranging from color shifts, tears in the emulsion, and watermarks. What I found through this process was it was actually quite difficult for me to relinquish control, especially to organisms that I don't have the ability to communicate with. My own human superiority bias showed up in the form of me being pleased that my images hadn't been completely ruined by this collaboration. All in all, it was quite a humbling process, as it was much more difficult than I imagined it would be for me to create with non-human actors, and to allow them the same freedom of expression as I expect for myself. Upon reflection, I was left with these thoughts and questions. When holding a desire to create or work with non-human actors, how does one gain consent? If we are unable to communicate effectively with them, then how can we be sure of the desire for involvement? Is it enough to merely consider the possibility of their giving consent? Can we as humans actually deviate from our own superiority complex in order to create space to intentionally allow non-human actors to contribute to our own projects? That concludes my update on my major project and my current findings. Thank you so much.